What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. I want to break down some very important news involving NIO stock, as we're seeing some new updates, not to mention what's going on involving geopolitics and how it's affecting the markets. Just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And all friends very soon at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market's going, we saw a nice green day in NIO. Don't forget that NIO's earnings is going to be in a couple of days from now, so we're seeing some optimism associated with that, especially as they're expected to see improvements to their margins. So far, so good. It wasn't just NIO, the whole market was in the green essentially, with some exceptions. SPY was green, up about 0.7%. The QQQ, our indices, were in the green. Some tickers were red, such as like Nvda and Tesla, but the majority of stocks were in the green. So nice job so far by the markets to push more. The question is, what's going to happen from this point on? JP Morgan have once again downgraded NIO to a neutral rating. And then in terms of our price price ratio, it's trying to climb right now, at least for NIO. When it comes to seasonality, just know that we tend to be green only about 49% of the time on Mondays and about 55% of the time on Tuesdays. And we're not really seeing anything too crazy, at least so far, at least on the news from here. Right now, there's just a lot of talk about how earnings is coming up and we're waiting for that. So that's the main thing we're essentially waiting for. Now, earnings will be on Friday for NIO, so get ready for that. Besides that, we just have XBONG and a few more on Tuesday, not to mention others on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, when it comes to our economic calendar, just know that retail sales did end up coming in. And we did see, retail sales year over year was below expectations, as we're seeing a little bit less consumer spending right now. There's a broader pullback in consumer spending and overall sentiment tied to the tariffs and budget cutting policies under President Trump so far. And this could be, a potential de-incentivizing factor for the Fed to cut rates, which I don't think they're going to be doing during the next FOMC meeting. That's going to be another catalyst for the markets in about 2 days from now. There's a 98% chance they're going to keep rates the same, and I think that's what they're going to end up doing. When it comes to economic policy, we do have some big things coming out. Keep in mind, let me talk about this first, and I'll talk about that. The first thing is that when it comes to Trump's tariffs, President Trump has announced that there's going to be more tariffs coming, and he says there's going to be no exemptions on steel and aluminum tariffs. But that's pretty much it. He hasn't said anything else that's too crazy since then. This is kind of like the same thing he's been saying before, so the market has priced this in for the time being until we get the next round of tariffs by April. That could cause like another big reaction. But for the time being, there's a bit of a pause in like major tariff announcements for now, and we'll see what this leads to, at least moving forward. I also want to add that in terms of the ceasefire news, once again, guys, President Trump has announced something very big. He's going to be speaking with Putin tomorrow. Ukraine have agreed to the ceasefire, the initial ceasefire agreement, but Russia are making more demands. So we're seeing what they're going to be demanding. What else is going to be said? There's a lot of things they are demanding, in all honesty, and we'll have to see how they negotiate through this as time goes on. So please keep that in mind. That's going to be very important. And then to add on to this, we'll see how this affects us, because if they do come to some kind of agreement as soon as this week, as soon as the end of the week, if that does happen, that could be another bullish catalyst for the markets. But we'll see, guys, how the call goes. We're going to take it one step at a time, nonetheless. Now, right now, there's extreme fear right now in terms of the fear and greed index. Extreme fear is still present as the market's still trying to bounce, but we're seeing that the puts call option ratio is starting to turn down just a bit, and we're seeing the VIX dipping, which tends to signal that the market's attempting some kind of bounce move. That's a good piece of news, at least thus far, and we'll have to see how this continues, at least moving forward, so just keep that in mind. Besides that, guys, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy, at least on the news and such. So with that being said, the question is, what do I see from this point on for the charts and the technicals? Let's focus on charts, and I'll break down more information about what's going on. So for NIO, we have a symmetrical leg structure, which looks a little bit more bullish. The fact that we have this nice accumulation, if we could hold above $5, we're looking for 5.5 as our target. If we end up losing 4.8, we're looking for 4.7 to be coming back down, as we have these gaps to fill. My guts tells me that we're going to likely attempt a continuation higher. As long as we hold this $5 area, we could be pushing for about 5.25 as we look a bit more bullish. SPY is looking more bullish. We're looking for 570 as our potential target. We might tag that tomorrow. Then we'll see if we consolidate here. We do have a gap to fill back up here around 575, which is where I think we're heading towards. But Despite this bullish move, we'll see how it reacts to 570 first. If we consolidate a bit before we try to go a little bit higher, then FOMC is going to be the next major catalyst that will launch this much higher or give us a temporary rug pull. For now, we do look a little bit bullish approaching it, so look for some consolidation near 570. If that breaks, we go even higher. On the QQQ, as long as we're above 480, we do have the potential to go up to 485 again, if not 488. We have a bullish divergence here, so this could try to cause us to pump even more. For the Russell 2000, we're trying to make higher lows right here. It's also looking quite good. I want to see if we can break past 205. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to push for 208. If we end up losing this support trend line right here, that's not going to be a good sign. And we could turn back down towards 203 or below if we get that rejection. But for now, we're holding up. For ES, we look a bit more bullish, so we're trying to break through this resistance. So we're doing a good job so far. So keep that in mind. If we hold above 57.26, we're looking for an attempt to go even higher for 5,800. If we end up losing 56.80, we're going to be tipping even more. So this is looking bullish as we're holding supports, and we could be looking for higher levels such as the 5,800s. So I think there's a good chance we try to push higher, so give this the time it needs, especially with this bullish divergence. As long as you don't lose 57.35, we could continue to go from here. NQ has a bullish divergence. As long as we're above 20,000, we're looking for 20,500 as potential targets. For Bitcoin has a bullish wedge that's potentially forming here, so it's looking pretty good. As long as we don't end up losing around 83,000, we're favoring this wedge and then eventually a push for 85,000 plus. For Nvda, we look pretty good, especially as we have a bullish divergence. I just need to see this hold to 118 to 117. As long as that holds, we could be looking for 125. If we lose to the 117s, we're looking for a dip back down to 113. So as long as this holds, we could try to balance for this imbalance for 125. For Tesla, we're in a range right now. Tesla is range bound, but it's looking a little bit weak here with lots of bad news that came out. We have to see if we could hold this 233 to 230 area. If this holds, we could continue to trade sideways. We need to break 250 to turn back to bullish. We're in the middle here, but there's a little bit of weakness here because of how we're rejecting off this trend line. Not looking that great. So it depends. Okay, tomorrow we might try an attempt to push to 240. If we can't hold that, we might be retesting these lows here. If they don't hold, this could be forming a double top and continuing to fall. This also may be shifting into a potential bearish wedge if it does get a rejection. So it's not looking too good, unfortunately. Tesla was trying to pump and it ended up failing, so not the best of news. And this is in a place of its own because Tesla is just getting lots of bad news right now. Apple's trying to, but I could be looking for a test of 216 by tomorrow, so it has potential. Nvidia, like I said before, it's trying to bounce. As long as it does not lose 117, it could continue this pump. For Netflix, as long as you don't lose like 933, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to about 970. For Coinbase, we're looking a bit more bullish. I just want to see us hold 188. As long as it holds, we're looking for an attempt for 195. For Amazon, we're in a range here. We have this resistance near 200. We have the support down here around 192. So we're kind of going back and forth. We could push for 197 to 200 just to see how we go, but there is some upside potential here. On Meta, we're making higher lows. I want to see us break past 608. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt for 616. If we reject here, we could be dipping back down towards 596, but I'm favoring upside a bit more. Microsoft is making higher lows. I want to see us break past 389. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt for 392. And then for Google, we have a range right here. So if we can break past 167.64, we're looking for an attempt for 169. If we lose support right here at 165, we could turn back down. We're in the middle going back and forth, so we'll see if we get some kind of break or not. So be very, very careful nonetheless. Anyways, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day. The VIX is looking a bit more bearish, which is a good sign for bulls, as this could be dipping more. So far, the bulls have a bigger edge. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for listening. NIO is making higher lows right now, and we are looking bullish, so we could be looking for that 5.25 to 5.4 targets. Overall, so far, so good. Let's get ready for FOMC in a couple of days, not to mention earnings on Friday. Until then, I just wish you all the best, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you for listening, and peace out.